Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Today, I want to talk about something that we don't ever hear anything about, and that is the damage that's done to Black Americans when they dump these large numbers of Black immigrants into their neighborhoods, sometimes neighborhoods that are already in crisis without any added resources. And I especially want to talk about the damage that's done to Black school children. When people talk about immigration, they talk about opportunity, hardship, and the American dream. What almost never gets discussed is the cost, not to the country as a whole, but to the specific communities that are forced to absorb newcomers without preparation, resources, or consent. And in America, that burden almost always falls on Black Americans. And really, this is not about bashing immigrants. This is about telling the truth about what happens when institutions make decisions that land squarely on the backs of the same communities they've underfunded for generations. So let's start with the placement process. When low-income immigrants arrive, they're not placed in wealthy suburbs. They're not placed in well-funded districts with strong infrastructure. They are placed in the cheapest housing available, which is overwhelmingly in poor, majority Black neighborhoods. And I have said now that maybe they need to stick them in the trailer park since they are so ungrateful when they come to the Black neighborhoods. Go to the trailer park. Let's see what kind of reception you're going to get there. Our communities have been dealing with redlining, disinvestment, and generational underfunding for decades. Our schools are struggling, hospitals are limited, and public transportation is unreliable. And instead of strengthening our neighborhoods, the system keeps adding more pressure. Black Americans are not the one making these placement decisions, but we are the ones living with the consequences. The main reason we are having to live with these consequences is because we don't say anything. Politicians ignore us until it's time to vote. But we need to form committees, and we need to go to the city council. We need to talk to the mayor. We need to talk to the governor. We need to talk to everybody that's responsible for placing these ingrates into our neighborhoods. And the thing that really burns me up is the strain that it is placed on the school systems that our children go to, because they keep talking about our test scores, our reading scores, our math scores, but yet and still they keep bringing kids into the classroom with these Black children who don't even speak English. So now your resources are stretched even further. Underfunded Black schools already struggle to meet the needs of the students they have. Teachers are overworked, class sizes are large, and resources are outdated or non-existent. Now imagine adding dozens, sometimes hundreds of students who need translation services, specialized instruction, and cultural adjustment support, but without adding any new funding. Teachers don't magically get more hours in the day. They don't get more staff. They don't get more training. What happens is simple. The limited attention that Black American students were already fighting for gets divided even further. This isn't the fault of the children arriving, and I'm not blaming it on them. I'm blaming it on the system that refuses to invest in the communities it relies on the most. And I don't believe, because given the resentment of these Black immigrants, they should not be brought into our communities at all. They should be put in a separate community or put in the communities with the white people where they want to be. And they will really then get a real good dose of what America is really like. So, what all of this has come to is cultural friction. Some newcomers arrive with stereotypes about Black Americans that they learned long before they ever set foot in this country. And those stereotypes don't disappear just because they crossed a border. So you end up with a dynamic where the host community, the community that's been here, that built the culture, that survived the policies, is treated as inferior in its own home. Black Americans are expected to be welcoming, patient, and silent, even when our neighborhoods are being strained, even when our schools are being stretched, even when we're being disrespected. And the moment Black Americans speak up about the pressure, we're labeled xenophobic or anti immigrant instead of being recognized as people defending our already fragile environment. And there is psychological cost to always being the community expected to absorb everybody else's crisis. Black Americans are told to adapt, to adjust, to make room, to be understanding, to be quiet. I just watched a video of a Haitian man talking about being in Brooklyn, New York in the 80s and 90s and being bullied by Black Americans and Jamaicans and Guyanese, and everybody, according to him, was bullying Haitians. So the question would be why? But the problem is all of them were stacked in on the Black Americans. And Black Americans are expected to take it and not say anything. Why can't these people be put into a special area? Why are they always being dumped into the Black American communities? Because we don't say anything. Many of them are placed into public housing, and Black Americans do live in public housing. But one of the reasons that so many Black Americans live in public housing is because of redlining and because of the banking system that has worked against Black Americans and prevented us from getting loans to buy homes. So it always comes back to the system of racism against Black Americans, yet we're expected to take on everybody else's problems too. The total lack of sympathy and concern for what Black Americans have gone through in this country is just astounding. Nobody is asking whether these neighborhoods have the capacity to take on all these immigrants. Nobody is asking whether these schools can handle the influx. Nobody is asking whether the people who already live there feel safe, supported, or respected. The message becomes your community doesn't matter. Your needs don't matter. You're just a landing pad. So it seems like our institutions disrespect us, and so other people disrespect us too. So at a point, we have to start respecting ourselves. We have to start speaking up and speaking out against the imposing on our communities. Immigration is a global issue and it's a problem for people all over the world. And when you see what they're doing in Europe, they are really like, we're pulling out all the stops. You ain't got to go home, but you're getting the hell up out of here. Why isn't somebody encouraging these people to stay in their homelands and build up their homelands? Now, they love white people. These Black immigrants, they love white people to death until you tell them they need to stay in their homeland and build up their homeland. Then they start complaining about all of the atrocities white people have caused in their homelands. And we have suffered atrocities too, but we are resilient. We don't run every time something goes wrong. So people are suffering all over, and America pretends to be the good guy. But the burden of poor planning should not fall on the same communities that have been under-resourced for generations. Black Americans deserve stable neighborhoods. We deserve fully funded schools. We deserve respect in our own communities. And we deserve the right to talk about the pressures placed on us without being shamed or silenced. Nobody talks about the damage that's been done to Black Americans, but we will. And the last thing I want to know is, what were the Haitians doing before 1965 when the Immigration and Nationality Act was passed and they were allowed to come to the United States? They've been keeping up mess down there in Haiti forever. But now all of a sudden they've all got to pile into the United States and get dumped into Black neighborhoods where they are not satisfied. So they're not satisfied in Haiti and they're not satisfied in the United States. So there needs to be some middle ground so that we're not compromised and that our resources are not diminished by people who don't have any gratitude for what's been offered to them. Some of these people need to have a reality check where they are made to understand that the responsibility for their condition in Haiti rests with the Haitian government, Haitian leadership, and the systems that have failed them for many generations. Black Americans did not create the crises in Haiti, and we should not be the ones expected to absorb disrespect from people fleeing from their country's problems. If America wants to help the Haitian people, that help should focus on strengthening them so they can build a life at home, not on overwhelming American citizens and especially Black Americans, and then them turning around and insulting us, the very community that fought for their rights to be here as immigrants. They are benefiting from the rights that we fought for them, and they see that as nothing. If it hadn't been for us, they would be down there in Haiti with barbecue being terrorized if it wasn't for Black Americans fighting for the rights of Black immigrants to come to the United States. But we are tired. We are tired, and we deserve better than this. And it is the responsibility of our government to address this situation. And they won't do it until we demand that they do it. So we got to get on the job. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about this video. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up. Stay warm out there and have a wonderful evening.